The mountain meditation. When it comes to meditation, mountains have a lot to teach, having archetypal significance in all cultures. Mountains are sacred places. People have always sought spiritual guidance and renewal in them and among them. The mountain is the symbol of the prime axis of the world, Mount Meru, the dwelling place of the gods, Mount Olympus, and the place the spiritual leader encounters God and receives his commandments and covenant, Mount Sinai. Mountains are held sacred, embodying dread and harmony, harshness and majesty. Rising above all else on our planet, they beckon and overwhelm with their sheer presence. Their nature is elemental, rock hard, rock solid. Mountains are the place of visions, where one can touch the panoramic scale of the natural world and its intersection with life's fragile but tenacious rootings. Mountains have played key roles in our history and prehistory. To traditional peoples, mountains were and still are mother, father, guardian, protector, ally. In meditation practice, it can be helpful sometimes to borrow these wonderful archetypal qualities of mountains and use them to bolster our intentionality and resolve to hold the moment with an elemental purity and simplicity. The mountain image held in the mind's eye and in the body can freshen our memory of why we are sitting in the first place and of what it truly means each time we take our seat to dwell in the realm of non-doing. Mountains are quintessentially emblematic of abiding presence and stillness. The mountain meditation can be practiced in the following way or modified to resonate with your personal vision of the mountain and its meaning. It can be done in any posture, but I find it most powerful when I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor so that my body looks and feels most mountain-like, inside and out. Being in the mountains or in sight of a mountain is helpful, but not at all necessary. It's the inner image which is the source of power here. Picture the most beautiful mountain you know of or can imagine, one whose form speaks personally to you. As you focus the image or the feeling of the mountain in your mind's eye, notice its overall shape, the lofty peak, the base rooted in the rock of the earth's crust, the steep or gently sloping sides. Note as well how massive it is, how unmoving, how beautiful whether seen from afar or up close, a beauty emanating from its unique signature of shape and form, and at the same time embodying the universal qualities of mountainness, transcending particular shape and form. Perhaps your mountain has snow at the top and trees on the lower slopes. Perhaps it has one prominent peak, perhaps a series of peaks or a high plateau. However it appears, just sit and breathe with the image of this mountain, observing it, noting its qualities. when you feel ready, see if you can bring the mountain into your own body so that your body sitting here and the mountain of the mind's eye become one. Your head becomes the lofty peak, your shoulders and arms the sides of the mountain, your buttocks and legs the solid base rooted to your cushion on the floor or to your chair. Experience in your body the sense of uplift, the axial, elevated quality of the mountain deep in your own spine. Invite yourself to become a breathing mountain, unwavering in your stillness, completely what you are, beyond words and thought, a centered, rooted, unmoving presence. Now, as we all know, throughout the day, as the sun travels the sky, the mountain just sits. Light and shadows and colors are changing virtually moment to moment in the mountain's granite stillness. Even the untrained eye can see changes by the hour. These evoke those masterpieces of Claude Monet, who had the genius to set up many easels and paint the life of his inanimate subjects hour by hour, moving from canvas to canvas as the play of light, shadow, and color transformed cathedral, river, or mountain, and thereby wake up the viewer's eye. As the light changes, as night follows day and day follows night, the mountain just sits, simply being itself. It remains still as the seasons flow into one another, and as the weather changes moment by moment and day by day, calmness abiding all change. In summer, there's no snow on the mountain, except perhaps for the very top, or in crags shielded from direct sunlight. In the fall, the mountain may display a coat of brilliant fire colors. In winter, a blanket of snow and ice. In any season, it may find itself enshrouded in clouds or fog, or pelted by freezing rain. The tourists who come to visit may be disappointed if they can't see the mountain clearly, but it's all the same to the mountain. Seen or unseen, in sun or clouds, broiling or frigid, it just sits, being itself. At times visited by violent storms, buffeted by snow and rain and winds of unthinkable magnitude, through it all, the mountain sits. Spring comes, the birds sing in the trees once again, leaves return to the trees which lost them, flowers bloom in the high meadows and on the slopes, streams overflow with waters of melting snow. Through it all, the mountain continues to sit, unmoved by the weather, by what happens on the surface, by the world of appearances. As we sit holding this image in our mind, we can embody the same unwavering stillness and rootedness in the face of everything that changes in our own lives over seconds, hours, and years. In our lives and in our meditation practice, we experience constantly the changing nature of mind and body and of the outer world. We experience periods of light and dark, vivid color and drab dullness. We experience storms of varying intensity and violence in the outer world and in our own lives and minds. Buffeted by high winds, by cold and rain, we endure periods of darkness and pain, as well as savoring moments of joy and uplift. Even our appearance changes constantly, just like the mountains, experiencing a weather and a weathering all its own. By becoming the mountain in our meditation, we can link up with its strength and stability and adopt them for our own. We can use its energies to support our efforts to encounter each moment with mindfulness equanimity, and clarity. It may help us to see that our thoughts and feelings, our preoccupations, our emotional storms and crises, even the things that happen to us, are much like the weather on the mountain. We tend to take it personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives is not to be ignored or denied. It is to be encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and held in high awareness, since it can kill us. In holding it in this way, we come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom than we may have thought possible, right within the storms. Mountains have this to teach us, and much more, if we can come to listen. Yet when all is said and done, the mountain meditation is only a device, a finger pointing us towards somewhere. We still have to look, then go. While the mountain image can help us become more stable, human beings are far more interesting and complex than mountains. We are breathing, moving, dancing mountains. We can be simultaneously hard like rock, firm, unmoving, and at the same time soft and gentle and flowing. We have a vast range of potential at our disposal. We can see and feel. We can know and understand. We can learn. We can grow. We can heal. Especially if we learn to listen to the inner harmony of things and hold the central mountain axis through thick and thin. Poem by Li Po. The birds have vanished into the sky, and now the last cloud drains away. We sit together, the mountain and me, until only the mountain remains. Try keeping this mountain image in your mind as you sit in formal meditation. Explore its usefulness in deepening your capacity to dwell in stillness, to sit for longer periods of time, to sit in the face of adversity, difficulties, and storms or drabness in the mind. Ask yourself what you are learning from your experiments with this practice. Can you see some subtle transformation occurring in your attitude toward things that change in your life? Can you carry the mountain image with you in daily life? Can you see the mountain in others and allow them their own shape and form, each mountain uniquely itself? The lake meditation. The mountain image is only one of many that you may find supports your practice and makes it more vivid and elemental. Images of trees, rivers, clouds, sky can be useful allies as well. The image itself is not fundamental, but it can deepen and expand your view of practice. Some people find the image of a lake particularly helpful. Because a lake is an expanse of water, the image lends itself to the lying down posture, although it can be practiced sitting up as well. We know that the water principle is every bit as elemental as rock, and that its nature is stronger than rock in the sense that water wears down rock. Water also has the enchanting quality of receptivity. It parts to allow anything in, then resumes itself. If you hit a mountain or a rock with a hammer, in spite of its hardness, or actually because of it, the rock chips, fragments, breaks apart. But if you hit the ocean or a pond with a hammer, all you get is a rusty hammer. A key virtue of water power reveals itself in this. To practice using the lake image in your meditation, picture in your mind's eye a lake, a body of water held in a receptive basin by the earth itself. Noting in the mind's eye and in your own heart that water likes to pool in low places. It seeks its own level, asks to be contained. The lake image you invoke may be deep or shallow, blue or green, muddy or clear. With no wind, the surface of the lake is flat. Mirror-like, it reflects trees, rocks, sky, and clouds, holds everything in itself momentarily. Wind stirs up waves on the lake, from ripples to chop. Clear reflections disappear, but sunlight may still sparkle on the ripples and dance on the waves in a play of shimmering diamonds. When night comes, it's the moon's turn to dance on the lake, or if the surface is still, to be reflected in it along with the outline of trees and shadows. In winter the lake may freeze over, yet teem with movement and life below. When you have established a picture of the lake in your mind's eye, allow yourself to become one with the lake as you lie down on your back or sit in meditation, so that your energies are held by your awareness and by your openness and compassion for yourself in the same way as the lake's waters are held by the receptive and accepting basin of the earth herself. Breathing with the lake image moment by moment, feeling its body as your body, allowing your mind and your heart to be open and receptive, to reflect whatever comes near. Experience the moments of complete stillness when both reflection and water are completely clear, and other moments when the surface is disturbed, choppy, stirred up, reflections and depth lost for a time. Through it all, as you dwell in meditation, simply noting the play of the various energies of your own mind and heart, the fleeting thoughts and feelings, impulses and reactions which come and go as ripples and waves, noting their effects just as you observe the various changing energies at play on the lake, the wind, the waves, the light and shadow and reflections, the colors, the smells. Do your thoughts and feelings disturb the surface? Is that okay with you? Can you see a rippled or wavy surface as an intimate, essential aspect of being a lake, of having a surface? Can you identify not only with the surface, but with the entire body of the water, so that you become the stillness below the surface as well, which at most experiences only gentle undulations, even when the surface is whipped to frothing? In the same way, in your meditation practice and in your daily life, can you identify not only with the content of your thoughts and feelings, but also with the vast, unwavering reservoir of awareness itself, residing below the surface of the mind? In the lake meditation, we sit with the intention to hold in awareness and acceptance all the qualities of mind and body, just as the lake sits held, cradled, contained by the earth, reflecting sun, moon, stars, trees, rocks, clouds, sky, birds, light, caressed by the air and the wind, which bring out and highlight its sparkle, its vitality, its essence. From Walden by Thoreau. In such a day, in September or October, Walden is a perfect forest mirror, set round with stones as precious to my eye as if fewer or rarer. Nothing so fair, so pure, and at the same time so large as a lake, perchance, lies on the surface of the earth. Sky water. It needs no fence. Nations come and go without defiling it. It is a mirror which no stone can crack, whose quicksilver will never wear off, whose gilding nature continually repairs. No storms, no dust can dim its surface ever fresh. A mirror in which all impurity presented to it sinks, swept and dusted by the sun's hazy brush. This, the light dust cloth, which retains no breath that is breathed on it, but sends its own to float as clouds high above its surface, and be reflected in its bosom still. Try using the lake image to support sitting or lying in stillness, not going anywhere, held and cradled in awareness. Note when the mind reflects, when it's embroiled. Note the calm below the surface. Does this image suggest new ways of carrying yourself in times of turmoil? Walking meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh says, peace is every step. I know people who at one time found it very difficult to sit, but got deeply into meditation practice through walking. No matter who you are, You can't sit all the time. And some people just find it virtually impossible to stay seated and mindful with the levels of pain and agitation and anger they feel. But they can walk with it. In traditional monastic settings, periods of sitting meditation are interspersed with periods of walking meditation. They are the same practice. The walking is just as good as the sitting. What is important is how you keep your mind. In formal walking meditation, you attend to the walking itself. You can focus on the footfall as a whole, or isolated segments of the motion such as shifting, moving, placing, shifting, or on the whole body moving. You can couple an awareness of walking with an awareness of breathing. In walking meditation, you're not walking to get any place. Usually it's just back and forth in a lane or round and round in a loop. Literally, having no place to go makes it easier to be where you are. What's the point of trying to be somewhere else on your walking path when it really is all the same? The challenge is, can you be fully with this step, with this breath? Walking meditation can be practiced at any pace, from ultra slow to very brisk. How much of the foot cycle you can attend to will depend on the speed. The practice is to take each step as it comes and to be fully present with it. This means feeling the very sensations of walking in your feet, in your legs, in your carriage and gait, as always, moment by moment, and in this case, step by step as well. You might call it watching your step, pun intended, although it's an inner watching. You're not looking at your feet. Just as in the sitting meditation, things will come up which will pull your attention away from the bare experience of walking. We work with those perceptions, thoughts, feelings and impulses, memories and anticipations that come up during the walking in the very same way that we do in sitting meditation. Ultimately, walking is stillness in motion, flowing mindfulness. It's best to do formal walking meditation in a place where you won't become a spectacle to other people, especially if you're going to do it very slowly. Good places are your living room, fields, or a clearing in the woods. Isolated beaches are good too. Push a shopping cart in front of you through a supermarket and you can walk as slowly as you like. You can practice walking meditation informally anywhere. Informal walking meditation doesn't involve pacing back and forth or going around a loop, but just walking normally. You can walk mindfully along a sidewalk, down a corridor at work, going for a hike, walking your dog, walking with children. It involves recalling that you are here in your body. You simply remind yourself to be in this moment, taking each step as it comes, accepting each moment as it comes. If you find yourself rushing or becoming impatient, slowing the pace can help take the edge off your rushing and remind you that you're here now, and when you get there, you'll be there. If you miss the here, you are likely also to miss the there. If your mind is not centered here, it's likely not to be centered just because you arrive somewhere else. Try bringing awareness to walking wherever you find yourself. Slow it down a bit. Center yourself in your body and in the present moment. Appreciate the fact that you're able to walk, which many people can't. Perceive how miraculous it is, and for a moment, don't take for granted that your body works so wonderfully. Know that you are ambulating upright on the face of Mother Earth. Walk with dignity and confidence, and as the Navajo saying goes, walk in beauty wherever you are. Try walking formally as well. Before or after you sit, try a period of walking meditation. Keep a continuity of mindfulness between the walking and the sitting. 10 minutes is good, or half an hour. Remember once again that it's not clock time we're concerned with here, but you will learn more and understand walking meditation more deeply if you challenge yourself to keep at it past your first or second impulse to stop. Standing meditation. Standing meditation is best learned from trees. Stand close to one, or better still, in a stand of trees, and just peer out in one direction. Feel your feet developing roots into the ground. Feel your body sway gently, as it always will, just as trees do in a breeze. Staying put, in touch with your breathing, drink in what's in front of you, or keep your eyes closed and sense your surroundings. Sense the tree closest to you. Listen to it. Feel its presence. Touch it with your mind and body. Use your breath to help you stay in the moment, feeling your own body standing, breathing, being, moment by moment. When mind or body first signals that perhaps it's time to move on, stay with the standing a while longer, remembering that trees stand still for years, occasionally lifetimes if they are fortunate. See if they don't have something to teach you about stillness and about being in touch. After all, they are touching the ground with roots and trunk, the air with trunk and branches, sunlight and the wind with their leaves. Everything about a standing tree speaks of being in touch. Experiment with standing this way yourself, even for short periods of time. Work at being in touch with the air on your skin, the feel of the feet in contact with the ground, the sounds of the world, the dance of light and color and shadow, the dance of the mind. Try standing like this everywhere you find yourself, in the woods, in the mountains, by a river, in your living room, or just waiting for the bus. When you're alone, you might try opening your palms to the sky and holding your arms out in various positions, like branches and leaves, accessible, open, receptive, patient. Lying down meditation. Lying down is a wonderful way to meditate if you can manage not to fall asleep. And if you do fall asleep, your sleep may be more restful if you enter it through meditation. You can wake up from sleeping in the same way, bringing full awareness to those first moments of wakefulness returning. When your body is lying down, you can really let the whole of it go much more easily than you can in any other posture. Your body can sink into the bed, mat, floor, or ground until your muscles stop making the slightest effort to hold you together. This is a profound letting go at the level of your muscles and the motor neurons which govern them. The mind quickly follows if you give it permission to stay open and wakeful. Using the body as a whole as the object of your attention in lying down meditation is a blessing. You can feel the body from head to toe, breathing and radiating warmth over the entire envelope of your skin. It's the whole body that breathes, the whole body that's alive. In bringing mindfulness to the body as a whole, you can reclaim your entire body as the locus of your being and your vitality, and remind yourself that you, whoever you are not just a resident of your head. You can focus on different areas in either a free-flowing or a more systematic way when practicing meditation lying down. We introduce the people in our clinic to lying down meditation in the form of a 45-minute body scan. Not everybody can sit for 45 minutes right away, but anybody can do the body scan. All you need to do is lie here and feel different regions of your body, and then let go of them. The body scan is systematic in the sense that we move through the various regions of the body in a particular order, but there's no one way to do it. It could be done scanning from head to feet, or from feet to head, or from side to side for that matter. One way to practice is to inwardly direct your breath into and out from the various regions of your body as if you could breathe right into your toes or your knee or your ear and breathe out from those places. When you feel ready, on an out-breath you just let go of that region, allowing or inviting it to dissolve in your mind's eye as the muscles themselves let go and you drop into stillness and open awareness before moving on and connecting with the next region of the body, which you would come to on another in-breath. As much as possible, allow all the breathing to be through your nose. You don't have to do lying down meditation as systematically as in the body scan, however. You can also focus on particular regions of your body at will, or as they become dominant in the field of your awareness, perhaps due to pain or a problem with a particular region. Entering into them with openness and attention and acceptance can be profoundly healing, especially if you practice regularly. It feels like a deep nourishing of cells and tissues as well as of psyche and spirit, whole body and soul. Lying down meditation is a good way to get in touch with your emotional body, too. We possess a metaphorical, a mythical heart as well as a physical one. When we focus on the region of the heart, it can be helpful to tune into any sensations of constriction in the chest, tightness or heaviness, and be aware of emotions such as grief, sadness, loneliness, despair, unworthiness, or anger, which may lie just beneath the surface of those physical sensations. We speak of broken hearts, of being hard-hearted or heavy-hearted, because the heart is known in our culture as the seat of our emotional life. The heart is also the seat of love, joy, and compassion, and such emotions are equally deserving of attention and of honoring as you discover them. A number of specialized meditative practices, such as loving-kindness meditation, are specifically oriented towards cultivating in oneself particular feeling states that expand and open the metaphorical heart. Acceptance, forgiveness, loving-kindness, generosity, and trust are all strengthened by intentionally centering and sustaining attention in the heart region and invoking such feelings as part of formal meditation practice. But these feelings are also strengthened through simply recognizing them when they arise spontaneously in your meditation practice and by encountering them with awareness. Other body regions, too, have metaphorical meaning and can be approached in meditations, lying down and otherwise, with this kind of awareness. The solar plexus has a sun-like radiant quality and can help us to contact feelings of centeredness, lying as it does at the center of gravity of the body, and of vitality in terms of its digestive fires. The throat focalizes our emotions and can be either constricted or open. Feelings can get stuck in the throat, sometimes, even if the heart is open. When we develop mindfulness of the throat region, it can put us more in touch with our speech and its tonal qualities, such as explosiveness, speed, harshness, volume, automaticity on the one hand, or softness, gentleness, sensitivity on the other, as well as its content. Each region of the physical body has its counterpart in an emotional body or map, which carries a deeper meaning for us, often completely below our level of awareness. In order to continue growing, we need to continuously activate, listen to, and learn from our emotional body. Lying down meditations can help a lot with this, as long as when you get up, you're willing to risk the stands that your insights might require. In the old days, our cultures, mythologies, and rituals helped in the process of activating our emotional body and honoring its vitality and its impermanence. Usually this was done in same-sex initiation practices organized by the community of elders, whose job it was to educate the adolescents about what it meant to be a full adult within the tribe or culture. The importance of the development of the emotional body is hardly recognized today. We are pretty much left to our own devices to come to full adulthood, whether man or woman. Our elders may have become so denatured themselves from a lack of such nurturance that there's no longer a collective knowledge of how to guide the awakening emotional vitality and authenticity of our young people, our children. Mindfulness may contribute to a reawakening of this ancient wisdom in ourselves and in others. Since we lie down for so much of our lives, Lying down meditation provides a readily accessible gateway to another dimension of consciousness. Before sleep, upon waking, while resting or lounging, the lying down can itself invite you to practice mindfulness, bringing breath and body together moment by moment, filling your body with awareness and acceptance, listening, hearing, growing, letting go, letting be. Try tuning into your breath when you find yourself lying down. Feel it moving in your entire body. Dwell with the breath in various regions of your body, such as the feet, the legs, the pelvis and genitals, the belly, the chest, the back, the shoulders, the arms, the throat and the neck, the head, the face, the top of your head. Listen carefully. Allow yourself to feel whatever is present. Watch the sensations in the body flux and change. Watch your feelings about them flux and change. Try meditating on purpose lying down, not just around bedtime. Do it out of bed, on the floor, at different times of the day. Do it in fields and meadows on occasion, under trees, in the rain, in the snow. Bring particular attention to your body as you're going to sleep and as you're waking up. Even for a few minutes, stretch yourself outright on your back if possible, and just feel the body as a whole breathing. Give special attention to any regions that are problematic for you, and work at letting the breath invite them back into a sense of membership and wholeness with the rest of your body. Keep your emotional body in mind. Honor gut feelings. Getting your body down on the floor at least once a day. There's a particular feeling of time stopping when you get your body down on the floor, whether it's to practice a lying down meditation such as the body scan, or to systematically work the body gently but firmly towards its limits in first this direction and then that, as we do in mindful hatha yoga. Just being low down in a room tends to clear the mind. Maybe it's because being on the floor is so foreign to us that it breaks up our habitual neurological patterning and invites us to enter into this moment through a sudden opening in what we might call the body door. In hatha yoga practice, the idea is to be fully in your body as you bring awareness to the various sensations, thoughts, and feelings which come up while you're moving, stretching, breathing, holding postures, reaching or lifting with arms, legs, and torso. There are said to be over 80,000 basic yoga postures. One won't quickly run out of new challenges for the body, but I find I keep coming back to a core routine of maybe 20 or so postures, which over the years just keep taking me deeper into my body and deeper into stillness. Yoga folds movement and stillness into one another. It's a wonderfully nourishing practice. As in the other forms of mindfulness practice, you're not trying to get anywhere, but you are purposefully moving right up to the very limits of your body in this moment. You are exploring a terrain where there may be considerable intensity of sensation associated with stretching or lifting or maintaining your balance in unusual spatial configurations of limbs, head, and trunk. There you dwell, usually for longer than part of your mind would like, just breathing, just feeling your body. You're not looking to break through to anything. You're not competing with anybody else's body or even aiming to improve your own. You're not judging how your body's doing. You're simply residing in stillness within the full range of your experiences, including any intensity or discomfort, which should in any case be benign if you've not forced yourself to go beyond your limits, tasting the bloom of these moments in your body. All the same, for the devoted practitioner, it's hard not to notice that the body loves a steady diet of this and changes on its own. There is frequently an on-the-way-to quality to this practice, at the same time that there's the just-as-it-is-now feeling as the body sinks more and more deeply into a stretch or into letting go, lying on the floor between more effortful postures. Not forcing anything, we just do our best to line up with the warp and woof of body and mind, floor and world, staying in touch. Try getting down on the floor once a day and stretching your body mindfully, if only for 3 or 4 minutes, staying in touch with your breathing and with what your body is telling you. Remind yourself that this is your body today. Check to see if you're in touch with it. Some pitfalls along the path. If you follow the lifelong path of mindfulness practice, the biggest potential obstacle at points along your journey will undoubtedly be your thinking mind. For instance, you might come to think from time to time that you're getting somewhere, especially if you have some satisfying moments that transcend what you have experienced before. Then you might go around thinking, maybe even saying, that you've gotten somewhere, that the meditation practice works, in quotes. The ego wants to lay claim and take credit for this special feeling or understanding, whatever it is. As soon as this happens, you are no longer into meditation, but into advertising. It's easy to get caught up here, using meditation practice to support the self-inflation habit. As soon as you're caught, you cease seeing clearly. Even a clear insight, once it is claimed by this kind of self-serving thinking, rapidly clouds over and loses its authenticity. So you have to remind yourself that all colorations of I, me, and mine are just currents of thinking that are liable to carry you away from your own heart and the purity of direct experience. This reminder keeps the practice alive for us at the very moments we may need it the most and are the most ready to betray it. It keeps us looking deeply in the spirit of inquiry and genuine curiosity and asking constantly, what is this? What is this? Or perhaps on occasion you may find yourself thinking that you're getting nowhere with your meditation practice. Nothing that you want to happen has happened. There's a sense of staleness, of boredom. Here again, it's the thinking that's the problem. There's nothing wrong with feelings of boredom or staleness, nor of not getting anywhere, just as there's nothing wrong with feeling that you are getting somewhere, and in fact, your practice may well be showing signs of becoming deeper and more robust. The pitfall is when you inflate such experiences or thoughts, and you start believing in them as special. It's when you get attached to your experience that the practice arrests, and your development along with it. Try, whenever you find yourself thinking you're getting somewhere or that you're not getting where you're supposed to be. It can be helpful to ask yourself things like, where am I supposed to get? Who's supposed to get somewhere? Why are some mind states less valid to observe and accept as being present than others? Am I inviting mindfulness into each moment or indulging in mindless repetition of the forms of meditation practice, mistaking the form for the essence of it? Am I using meditation as a technique? These questions can help you cut through those moments when self-involved feeling states, mindless habits, and strong emotions dominate your practice. They can quickly bring you back to the freshness and beauty of each moment as it is. Perhaps you forgot or didn't quite grasp that meditation really is the one human activity in which you're not trying to get anywhere else, but simply allowing yourself to be where and as you already are. This is a bitter medicine to swallow when you don't like what is happening or where you find yourself, but it is especially worth swallowing at such times. Is mindfulness spiritual? If you look up the word spirit in the dictionary, you will find that it comes from the Latin spirare, meaning to breathe. The in-breath is inspiration, the out-breath expiration. From these come all the associations of spirit with the breath of life, vital energy, consciousness, the soul. often framed as divine gifts bestowed upon us, and therefore an aspect of the holy, the numinous, the ineffable. In the deepest sense, the breath itself is the ultimate gift of spirit. But as we have seen, the depth and range of its virtues can remain unknown to us as long as our attention is absorbed elsewhere. The work of mindfulness is waking up to vitality in every moment that we have. In wakefulness, everything inspires. Nothing is excluded from the domain of spirit. As much as I can, I avoid using the word spiritual altogether. I find it neither useful nor necessary nor appropriate in my work at the hospital bringing mindfulness into the mainstream of medicine and healthcare, nor in other settings in which we work, such as our multi-ethnic inner-city stress reduction clinic, prisons, schools, and with professional organizations and athletes. Nor do I find the word spiritual particularly congenial to the way I hold the sharpening and deepening of my own meditation practice. This is not to deny that meditation can be thought of fundamentally as a spiritual practice. It's just that I have a problem with the inaccurate, incomplete, and frequently misguided connotations of that word. Meditation can be a profound path for developing oneself, for refining one's perceptions, one's views, one's consciousness. But to my mind, the vocabulary of spirituality creates more practical problems than it solves. On occasion, people come up to me in the hospital and tell me that their time in the stress reduction clinic was the most spiritual experience they ever had. I am happy that they feel that way, because it is coming directly out of their own experience with the meditation practice and not from some theory or ideology or belief system. I usually think I know what they mean, but I also know that they are trying to put into words an inward experience which is ultimately beyond labels. But my deepest hope is that whatever their experience or insight was, it will continue for them, that it will take root, stay alive, grow. Hopefully they will have heard that the practice is not about getting anywhere else at all, not even to pleasant or profound spiritual experiences. Hopefully they will come to understand that mindfulness is beyond all thinking, wishful and otherwise, that the here and now is the stage on which this work unfolds continuously. The concept of spirituality can narrow our thinking rather than extend it. All too commonly, some things are thought of as spiritual, while others are excluded. Is science spiritual? Is being a mother or a father spiritual? Are dogs spiritual? Is the body spiritual? Is the mind spiritual? Is childbirth? Is eating? Is painting or playing music or taking a walk or looking at a flower? Is breathing spiritual or climbing a mountain? Obviously, it all depends on how you encounter it, how you hold it in awareness. Perhaps ultimately, spiritual simply means experiencing wholeness and interconnectedness directly, a seeing that individuality and the totality are interwoven, that nothing is separate or extraneous. If you see in this way, then everything becomes spiritual in its deepest sense. Doing science is spiritual, so is washing the dishes. It's the inner experience which counts, and you have to be there for it. All else is mere thinking. At the same time, you have to be on the lookout for tendencies towards self-deception, deluded thinking, grandiosity, self-inflation, and impulses towards exploitation and cruelty directed at other beings. A lot of harm has come in all eras from people attached to one view of spiritual truth, and a lot more has come from people who hide behind the cloak of spirituality and are willing to harm others to feed their own appetites. The quest for spiritual unity, especially in youth, is often driven by naivete and a romantic yearning to transcend the pain, the suffering, and the responsibilities of this world of eachness and suchness, which includes the moist and the dark. The idea of transcendence can be a great escape, a high-octane fuel for delusion. This is why the Buddhist tradition, especially Zen, emphasizes coming full circle, back to the ordinary and the everyday, what they call being free and easy in the marketplace. This means being grounded anywhere, in any circumstances, neither above nor below, simply present, but fully present. And Zen practitioners have the wholly irreverent and wonderfully provocative saying, "If you meet the Buddha, kill him," which means that any conceptual attachments to Buddha or enlightenment are far from the mark. Notice that the mountain image as we use it in the mountain meditation is not merely the loftiness of the peak high above all the baseness of quotidian living. It is also the groundedness of the base, rooted in rock, a willingness to sit and be with all conditions, such as fog, rain, snow, and cold, or in terms of the mind, depression, angst, confusion, pain, and suffering. Rock, the students of the psyche remind us, is symbolical of soul rather than spirit. Its direction is downward, the soul journey, a symbolic descent, a going underground. Water, too, is symbolical of soul, embodying the downward element, as in the lake meditation, pooling in the low places, cradled in rock, dark and mysterious, receptive, often cold and damp. The soul feeling is rooted in multiplicity rather than oneness, grounded in complexity and ambiguity, eachness and suchness. Soul stories are stories of the quest, of risking one's life, of enduring darkness and encountering shadows, of being buried underground or underwater, of being lost and at times confused, but persevering nevertheless. In persevering, we ultimately come in touch with our own goldenness as we emerge from the darkness and the submerged gloom of the underground that we most feared, but nevertheless faced. This goldenness was always there, but it had to be discovered anew through this descent into darkness and grief. It is ours even if it remains unseen by others, or even at times by ourselves. Fairy tales in all cultures are for the most part soul stories rather than spirit stories. The dwarf is a soul figure, as we saw in The Water of Life. Cinderella is a soul story. The archetype there is ashes, as Robert Bly pointed out in Iron John. You, because these stories are all about you, are kept down in the ashes, close to the hearth, grounded but also grieving, your inner beauty unperceived and exploited. During this time, inwardly, a new development is taking place, a maturation, a metamorphosis, a tempering which culminates in the emergence of a fully developed human being, radiant and golden, but also wise to the ways of the world, no longer a passive and naive agent. The fully developed human being embodies the unity of soul and spirit, up and down, material and non-material. The meditation practice itself is a mirror of this journey of growth and development. It too takes us down as well as up, demands that we face, even embrace, pain and darkness, as well as joy and light. It reminds us to use whatever comes up, and wherever we find ourselves, as occasions for inquiry, for opening, for growing in strength and wisdom, and for walking our own path. For me, words like soul and spirit are attempts to describe the inner experience of human beings, as we seek to know ourselves and find our place in this strange world. No truly spiritual work could be lacking in soul, nor can any truly soulful work be devoid of spirit. Our demons, our dragons, our dwarfs, our witches and ogres, our princes and princesses, our kings and queens, our crevices and grails, our dungeons and our ores are all here now, ready to teach us. But we have to listen and take them on in the spirit of the heroic, never-ending quest each of us embodies, whether we know it or not, in the very fabric of a human life lived, for what it means to be fully human. Perhaps the most spiritual thing any of us can do is simply to look through our own eyes, see with eyes of wholeness, and act with integrity and kindness. from Lapis Lazuli of W.B. Yeats. Their eyes, their ancient, glittering eyes, are gay. Afterword. I don't imagine people buy books about meditation all that casually. The fact that this one has now been in print for 10 years and is in over 20 languages suggests that people are being drawn to and touched by its basic message. Perhaps because we are so starved for our own direct experience of being who we somehow know deep down we already are, but perhaps feel slightly at a distance from all the same. Perhaps it is tapping an increasingly widespread and deep yearning for authenticity, intimacy, and clarity, and reminding us of what we already know, that these qualities can be found only within ourselves and within the unfolding of our direct experience of living, and that that unfolding is always and only here, and always and only now, whatever our circumstances. Perhaps people recognize in the title the calling to wake up to our experience while we have the chance, and how easy it is to sleepwalk through and therefore miss much of our life, telling ourselves nice stories of who we are and where we're going, along the way to some deluded fantasy we may never reach and might never recover from were we to arrive. This book is so close to my heart, and it feels so complete to me as it is, that when asked to write something for this 10th anniversary edition, I found myself reluctant to introduce new material at the beginning in the form of a foreword, hence this afterword. There is much to say and at the same time nothing to say. The meditation practice itself is timeless, and it is deeply gratifying to see it taking root so deeply in our society at a time of such great inner and outer turmoil and confusion, and at a time of such ferocious time acceleration, driven by the advent of the digital age and feeding our capacity for getting more and more done in less and less time, thereby dramatically increasing the risk of never being present with and for ourselves, of losing touch almost entirely with the domain of being. Nothing like this has ever been seen in the entire trajectory of humanity. The species itself is at a critical juncture, a tipping point, and mindfulness, our innate capacity for wakefulness and open-hearted presence and clear seeing, has never been more critically important. To my mind, what we need now more than ever within all the turmoil is an inner wisdom, a rotation in consciousness, to accompany and shape the trajectory of our various engagements in the world, as well as to guide us individually and collectively in the full development of our potential as human beings. Mindfulness meditation, especially when it is understood as a way of being, as living life as if it really mattered, moment by moment by moment, rather than merely as a technique or as one more thing you have to do during your already too busy day, is one powerful vehicle for realizing such transformative and healing possibilities in ourselves and in the world. And because it is a door into the timeless, it operates beyond time, underneath time, inside of time, and so allows for transformation without having to strive to get anywhere else or beat oneself up along the way for being inadequate or imperfect. For, as the book affirms, you are already perfect. We all are. Perfectly what we are, including all our imperfections and inadequacies. The question is, can we be with it? Can we sit with it? Can we know it? Can we embrace our own wholeness and embody it here where we already are, in the very situations, good, bad, ugly, lost, confusing, heart-rending, terrifying, and painful, that we find ourselves in?
Can we be this knowing? Can we realize the infinite beauty and mystery and intelligence of our own awareness, and realize too that it can be infinitely refined through tending, through the cultivation of an affectionate and tender attention? Can we realize that wherever we go, there we are, and that this there is always here, and so requires at least acknowledgement and perhaps a degree of acceptance of what is, however it is, because it already is? Can we grow into ourselves in our fullness and live our precious and fleeting lives more wisely? These are all one question, really, and the gut response is, we can. We can. When you come right down to it, what else is there to do? And what could be more important than to give our very life in the fullness of its possibilities and its very actualities, often unseen, unnoticed, and unused, back to ourselves while we have the chance? It is either wherever you go, there you are, or wherever you go, there you aren't. Both are true to a degree in any moment, but we can fiddle with the degreeness, and so reclaim who and what we already are and always have been, right here, right now, only temporarily forgotten. Mindfulness, cultivated for even a few minutes, draws the heart toward itself. It invites the intimacy we yearn for and that is calling to us, because ultimately mindfulness is intimacy with ourselves and the world, underneath any apparent separation between the two. The practice of mindfulness immediately makes available to us both the world's and our heart's intrinsic goodness and beauty, revealing through our direct experience the power and solace of resting in the present moment in awareness. Out of the wind of our afflictive emotions and the agitations of an unquiet and continually judging mind, revealing as well that these cannot but abate on their own if we cease denying them or attempting to shut them down, which only feeds their disquieting energies and so often leads to harm and suffering in all directions, inwardly and outwardly, rather than to illumination and kindness. The deepest of bows to you for the courage and perseverance involved in throwing yourself wholeheartedly into this adventure of a lifetime. In our everyday lives, we are all embodying and mirroring the myriad emergent forms of the possible for each other and for the world itself, moment by moment and breath by breath. With every breath, we are continually invited to embody and therefore actualize the possible more consistently, more ardently, more compassionately, with greater appreciation for the clarity, sanity, and well-being that are always and already right beneath our noses and within all of us. May we continue to give ourselves over to what is deepest and best in ourselves, over and over and over again, encouraging those seeds of our truest nature to grow and flower, and for the sake of all beings near and far, known and unknown, nourish our lives and work and world from moment to moment and from day to day.
We hope you've enjoyed this Audio Renaissance production of Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. Text copyright 1994 by John Kabat-Zinn. Production copyright 1994 and 2001 by Audio Renaissance, a division of Holt Spring Publishers, LLC. All rights reserved.